All right, welcome to part 2 where we talk about parts of an expression. This is going to be our examples video. We're going to talk about 2 examples. Number 1, 5x squared minus 4x plus 2. And we're going to talk about the number of terms and coefficients. Okay, so number of terms, remember a term is separated by either an addition or a subtraction sign. So right here we have subtraction and addition. So we look in between those. In between those we have 1 term, 2 terms, and a third term. So it's simple. Number of terms is 1, 2, 3 terms. All right, and those terms, if I asked you what the actual terms were, okay, there are 3 terms, and if we were to list them out, they would be 5x squared. 5x squared is the first term, comma, since we're listing them. And then in this case, it's a little bit tricky, right? It says 4x. 4x isn't the term. We have to include the sign with it. So always look in front of the number 4, and in this case we take negative 4x. So you include the sign, negative 4x is a term, and then finally we have the 2 plus 2, so it's going to be just a positive 2. And I don't need to write plus 2, I can just write, since it's positive, 2. If it was negative, I would need to include that negative sign. All right, so those are my 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. All right, coefficients. Remember, coefficient, we always look for a variable. The coefficient is the number in front of a variable. So where are my variables? My variables are right here and right here. That 2 does not have a variable. Okay, so in front of that variable, we have the first one, x squared. Well, in front of that is a 5. So we include our coefficient is a 5. And then we have in front of that x, a negative 4. Okay, include the negative 4. Negative 4. You have to include the sign with it. Okay. And then, so we have 5, negative 4. 3 terms, and we have those coefficients. Since the 2 doesn't have a variable, that's not a coefficient. That is a constant. But it doesn't ask for constants, so we don't need to include that. All right, number 2, we have number of terms. Number of terms we have, well, that's a subtraction, subtraction, and addition. So looking between those, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. 4 terms, and 4 terms. And those terms are, we have a 7y separated by a 3x, or next to a 3x. So we have negative 3x, negative 3x. After the 3x, we have negative 2. We have to include the sign negative 2. And then after that negative 2, we have plus 6x squared. But again, since it's positive, we just assume it's positive. So it's going to be plus 6x squared, or just a 6x squared. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. You just list them out. All right, as far as coefficients go, we just look for the variables. So I just need to highlight the variables here, here, and there. That 2 does not have a variable. So if we look in front of that, we have 7 as a coefficient. So 7. And then we have negative 3 in front of the variable, so that's going to be a coefficient of negative 3. And then finally, we have a plus 6 in front of the x squared. Again, I don't need to write plus 6, I'll just write a 6, since if there's no sign, it's already positive. All right, so we have 7, negative 3, and 6. That's all we have to do when we have parts of expressions. In the previous video, we talked about definitions. This video is all about the examples. And if you have questions, you can always contact me or check out the practice problems on this page as well.